What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Addicted Hunting Podcast, episode number 6. I am Sean Keller.
What's up, guys? Marlon Lefevre.
How's it going? Andrew Thompson.
Cliff Sully is here as well.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about late season hunting, dabble in deer and elk. We mainly have experience in deer, but we'll kind of go over our gear and what we like to bring with us, and how we set up our camp, and we'll dig into tactics and our hunting experiences. Starting off with gear, obviously late season it's really cold out most years.
Especially if you're sitting in a tree stand, because I know like Bobby and Lonnie, they've told me like, dude, if you're not bundled up like crazy when you're in the tree stand over there, you are dying.
It is miserable, and especially if it's wet out. Like, you got to have layers, and then you have to have a Gore-Tex outer layer. Like, Gore-Tex is your best friend, especially sitting in a tree stand. Like, in some states when it's dry, like, you could layer wool and you'd be completely fine. But a lot of the places we hunt, you have to have a Gore-Tex outer layer. But make sure that you guys have plenty of layers. I personally love the Under Armour base layers. That's what I run, the cold gear. I've been running that for like 14 years now, and I love that stuff.
Under Armour's been around for 14 years.
Yeah, dude.
You're that old?
I have the old school Under Armour stuff. maybe not 14 years. Maybe it's more like 12 years. But it's, yeah.
I run the First Light.
I personally run the First Light and run their Puffy, and on top of that,
Dude, that thing's legit.
Yeah.
Like, that is the most legit puff. Like, I used to think like puffies were like for like these hippie hikers and everything.
I still think that.
Dude, until you've
I
worn
make
one.
fun of everyone that wears them, including Josh, Cameron, all the guys that wear them.
oh,
you-
knock
well,
until
they-
you try it, but
Yeah.
they're a game changer.
It may be comfortable and nice.
Dude, it's like
and
wearing a
warm,
sleeping bag,
but
bro.
you literally you might as well look like the Marshmallow Man.
This is not a fashion statement.
Yeah. Deer don't care, bro. They don't.
I care.
I think that the most important part of your system is your base layers, though. That is what is going to hold in your core heat the most. Everything after that is insulation and wind breaking.
Yeah.
essentially.
Waterproof.
And waterproofing, going back to the Gore-Tex. But yeah, those base layers are definitely the key part of your arsenal. And when it comes to base layers and layering, like, everybody has had long johns, like old cotton long johns.
All of mine are cut off at the belly
Polypropylene,
button
yeah.
from when I forgot TP.
You guys, especially those guys that are set in their ways, you guys have to steer clear of cotton. It will literally
You'll freeze.
It's a game changer. When you start sweating,
Yep.
you get colder. I hate cotton, and it doesn't dry out. So make sure you guys are going with like a synthetic polyester merino wool. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, but they both work. Synthetics dry out a little bit faster.
Merino,
You just stay warm.
you stay warm, and you can wear it a lot longer, and your
don't
scent.
stink.
Yeah, you don't stink. Like
Synthetics and merino wool are pretty comparable when it comes to scent. Like, you can wear them for 3 days and take it off and let it dry out, and it doesn't stink.
Maybe it was just me, but I wore my merino like 14 days straight, and I didn't smell it. But that just could have been me.
Smell yourself.
Yeah, no, you definitely smelled like.
If you were to walk into town, people would go,
I probably smelled, but I'm a firm believer in the merino. It's warm, and if you do end up sweating a little bit, and you like, I know we're talking about late season, but if you in early season you take it off, it dries out fairly fast. And
Well, yeah, but late season, we're still hiking to the top of mountains.
Yeah,
we're still
absolutely.
sweating. Like, that's why layering is so important, because you can take layers off as you need and put them back on. And,
right.
I've done it a bunch of times where, it's 30 degrees out, but I'm going to hike up that ridge in my
T-shirt.
Yeah,
especially with a
your
backpack.
base layer.
Base layer, yeah.
Your closest layer to your skin, just because you're hot and you're hiking up, 1,000-foot elevation.
Oh, I sweat when it's 15 degrees out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm a sweater. Like, no.
But it can be your worst enemy too, because as soon as you get up there, that's hypothermia. You can get hypothermia.
Yeah, when you sit down, I mean, that's where you got to be strategic in stripping layers. If you start getting hot as you're walking up that hill, take 5 minutes, strip a layer off, and cool your body down. Don't get, especially late season, don't get too hot, because when you do get to that point where you're going to want to sit in glass for a little bit,
You'll freeze.
You will freeze, and that's look up stories. There's hunters who've gotten big trouble where they've stopped from where they were sweating, and they go into hypothermia.
Yep.
It's no joke, especially when you're getting into the teens and low, single digits during the late season, that hypothermia is real. And if you don't stay moving, you kind of have to play that equal medium, where you're staying warm, but you're not sweating, because sweating's a bad deal during the late season, especially when you're talking cold temps.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about feet? Who has, like, because for me, like, I figured it out. Like, my feet sweat so bad. Doesn't matter if I have an insulated boot, uninsulated boot. Like, I'll wear wool socks. It doesn't matter what I wear. My feet sweat so bad. So what I do now is I'll take an antiperspirant to my feet. Like, I even take it with me, even like early season when I'm packing in, all that. I have to, because if I don't, done. My feet will get so cold. I'm ready to quit.
I've never even thought about that, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, and
Antiperspirant on your foot, huh?
Yeah, so like you're just a non-scented like Arm & Hammer. Yeah, dude, I just like a stick form. Just same thing as like your armpits. You don't want to sweat.
I bought that same stick this year, and it was a game changer, especially because like I'm a bigger kid, but I chafe, and I use that on the inside of my thighs.
Dude, I got this stuff. I kid you not. It's called Dry Balls. Like, you guys, if you are listening to this, look this stuff up. It's called Dry Balls. Dude, I was the most popular dude at camp. Like, everybody's like, whoa, what's that? I was like, I'm telling you, like, if you chafe, dude, this stuff's legit. Like, I mean, it keeps you dry all day long.
I heard about Glide too. I've
heard of that.
I heard Glide's like it's like a deodorant stick, game changer for early season. If you start getting a little raspy down there, you just.
But it's the same thing late season though, man. Like, we're sweating. Like, you're all geared up. Like, I take anything that's going to give me an edge or make me more comfortable, I'm going to do. Like, and obviously over time we've learned this through mistakes and trying to figure stuff out. But dude, I've heard of like people like getting Botox injections in their feet to where they don't sweat. I'm not going to go that far.
No.
Because there ain't nothing that's going to make my feet look pretty.
What the frick?
Yeah, dude, I'm dead serious. Like, this is how serious I am about it. Like, I've looked into all this. Like, they're like, yeah, you get Botox injections. I'm like,
okay, that's overboard. But
right,
hey,
right.
Hey.
Right. So,
To each
antiperspirant
their
for your
own.
feet.
To each their own.
Also, like merino wool socks, those have been a huge game changer for me. I don't get blisters anymore with merino wool socks, and that goes with all hunting. That's not just late season, but those are super important.
They keep the trench foot away too, because they're antimicrobial, so they don't allow your foot to get like the trench foot or anything. And I don't know. I've been running them for years. I don't buy the spendy ones. I go to Costco and get their hiker socks. Those merino wool. You get like a 4-pack for like $20.
I'm wearing them right now.
You can't beat.
I
the
just
price.
get them on Amazon. Same thing though. It's like a 4-pack for $20.
Yeah, you can't beat them. I mean, you can go. I've heard Darn Toughs, or what are those ones?
Yeah, I've heard about. I haven't ran them before. I don't
Anyways,
know anything about them.
the merino wool socks. They're a game changer.
Well, and it's funny. There's another Cliff that we hunt with that he used to wear. I don't know if he switched to merino wool, but he was always wearing cotton socks, and he was always getting blisters. I'm just like, when are you gonna learn? It's like those old guys, man. They
don't want to change.
They're hard-headed.
Yeah.
Hard-headed. But
in their cotton camo.
just do yourself a favor and
just try it. It's $20.
Yeah,
It's $20.
take our word for it. It'll make your life a lot easier. Another thing that I feel like is super important is gaiters.
Yeah.
Those things have saved me so many times. And I even wear them early season, but late season, like creek crossings, like we all have good boots and whatnot, but even good boots, they start getting damp and they'll start.
When they can wick down in too.
They leach down into it,
And when you have gaiters, they go up, at least mine, they go up to the bottom of my knee. So I can literally cross a creek to the bottom of my knee.
As long as you're quick.
Yeah, as long as you're quick. Yeah, you don't want to sit there and wait in it. They're not waiters, but They will literally prevent any moisture from getting down in, and they'll save you from your feet getting wet. Because the best Gore-Tex boot, as soon as you start going through any brush that's higher than your boot, that water just starts leaking in regardless.
Well, not only that, but you're spending any one of us that's spending $150 or more on a pair of hunting pants, who wants to thrash them in the brush?
Exactly.
I've before I got gaiters, I thrashed probably 3 to 4 pair of really high end pants, at the ankle, and they're worthless now.
You can turn them into capris.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Or
Early season capris.
Jorts.
Yeah, there you go.
jorts.
Yeah, it's like Wayne Endicott, man. If you see some of his stuff, dude, he's always cutting his stuff off.
Oh yeah.
Always.
No, but for real, I mean, it's you buy high end gear and you want to take care of it. So gaiters are a game changer.
They'll prolong the life.
You'll
of your gear.
save the pant because one season, if you're hitting it hard, you can thrash and tear $150+ pair of pants, dollar pair of pants.
Oh, absolutely.
No joke.
Especially like early season gear, it's so thin. Like some of my early season gear.
Oh, it's so thin. It's
so thin.
You can see through. If you hold it in the sun, most of my gear you can see through.
With like Jesse, he's pretty hard on gear, and he went and bought a bunch of. I'm not gonna say the brand name. It's not that it's bad gear, but it's really thin, and he's 100 miles an hour. If anybody's ever seen Jesse in the woods, he's 100 miles an hour. He works hard.
And you'll tear it up.
Yeah, he tore up this gear, and he was so mad. He's like, man, this stuff's garbage. But I'm just like, no, dude, you're just like, you'll put like your 10 miles on gear is like a normal person's 500 miles on gear.
I did the same thing with another company's gear that I will not say. It happens. If you're hitting it hard, it doesn't matter whose gear you're wearing. I mean, you're gonna tear it up. I mean, depends on how hard you go, but I mean, gaiters will prolong the lower end of your pants, and that's usually where the wear comes from.
Absolutely. Another thing too, boots. When it comes to like, if you guys are doing any like late season sitting in tree stands or anything, like you're obviously like you don't have circulation in your body. You're not moving. So having super warm boots, and the boots I wear during late season, like when I'm sitting in a tree stand, are boots I got from work. They're like Arctic boots.
They're a snow boot.
Yeah, they're a snow boot. But when I'm sitting there, like it keeps me warm, so I wear them.
What have you ever messed around with like any of the like battery operated socks or anything like that?
I want to
because I know people have like. I thought Bobby got those once and tried them. Have you talked to him about it?
I think he does run them, yeah, and I think he loves them. I want to try it so bad. I want to buy one of those suits that have like the heating elements in the pockets.
The heater bodysuit.
Yeah, and it just runs off a battery. Like for sitting in a tree stand, yeah.
DeWalt makes them. Or Milwaukee. Or
yeah.
what, the
oh yeah, they do.
They
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
They
absolutely.
do. They make the cool suits too.
Yeah, that'd be something to look into. Maybe we'll try that this year and let you guys know how it goes.
I personally have never sat in a tree stand, but
You have to get something under your feet. That's the biggest thing is like when you get all that cold air underneath your feet, like, dude, I'll take a wool blanket and like I'll put it over my feet because once again, going back, like it doesn't matter if I got to walk like 500 yards. Like, dude, my feet are going to be soaked by the time I get there.
Yeah.
So it's like, anything that exposes your feet to cold, like I work construction and, we're working on scissor lifts and stuff. And
oh yeah,
we will put down just a simple piece of cardboard on our scissor lift, and that will cut down the time that our feet get cold. Yeah. In the wintertime, it's amazing how it works, but we will cut up cardboard and put it in our scissor lift just to keep our feet from getting cold as fast. It's
Sean, is your new thing you only chew when you podcast?
Yeah. Don't judge me. Marlon likes to give me crap for chewing.
I don't like to give you crap. I just swear it's like every 90 days he quit. Then I see him again and he's like, oh, I only do it when I'm fishing. Oh, I only do it when I'm hunting. Oh, I only do it when I'm podcasting.
I might come up with another time I only do
all
it.
you kids out there, don't be filling your lips up with that junk.
It's a bad habit.
It's bad for you.
Yeah.
What about gloves? What are you guys running for gloves? And this is gonna vary a lot because, between multi-season deer tags, some of us archery hunt, some of us muzzleloader hunt. gloves are a big thing, and for every single one of those, seasons, because like with a bow, you have to have like
The dexterity.
the dexterity, and with a rifle even too, being able to pull the trigger. So I was just curious, what gloves are you guys running?
Like I said, I run pretty hot. I run the fingerless first light gloves, and if I'm sitting for a long time, I'll throw their thin gloves on too.
Do those have like a mitt that folds over? It's not one of those styles.
That's the style I use. I like the kind that has the mitt.
I think I would like that a lot.
I don't have no name brand. It's just something I bought at Sportsman's or Bob's. It was just some mitt gloves that I got, and I just like them. They work well.
I don't think that First Light makes a mitt, like a fold over mitt, but they do make like a shooter's glove. And then, but I don't even run that. Like I don't typically, like I said, I run hot, so I'm running on the light end during late season. I'm sweating a bunch, and I run their fingerless wool gloves, and that's kind of what I run.
I don't think anybody's really perfected it. Like, to be honest, like
No.
it's a really hard thing to perfect.
It's all uncomfortable, no matter how you like. Even during archery
Well,
season,
it gets in the way.
Yeah,
everything
it's
gets
the same
in the way.
with fishing. Like it's that no one's made a good glove.
Well, nobody's
Absolutely.
used to, like, we walk around with our hands every day, and then you throw gloves on, and that's a completely different feeling when you have gloves on, no matter what you're doing. Like even at work, I wear gloves at work, and it's different than having the dexterity or feeling your fingertips. It's different.
What about you, Cliff?
Usually, late season, I'm usually walking. Tree stands here and there, but I've got a carbon riser, so I don't wear gloves. Like even on my.
I don't care if you have a carbon riser or not. If you were hunting in the snow,
Done it.
oh my gosh. Darren said the same thing.
Do you have a carbon riser?
No, I have,
Then you can't say
I have an
nothing.
aluminum riser, but
And then your hands get cold. That's why I got a carbon riser.
yeah, but I'm not. When I carry my bow, I carry it by the string anyways.
Well, then hold it by the handle.
And Darren's like, "Oh yeah, you gotta have that carbon
No, it
riser because
doesn't.
your hands get cold." It's like,
I'm dead serious.
what about the rest of your hand that's not contacting the bow? It's still gonna be cold.
Yeah, I guess that could play a part, but it doesn't.
No, I'm telling you, like I don't wear gloves.
Cliff must just hold his bow at full draw all the time.
No, I don't. So I use a thumb release, so it's in my pocket, so I can ball this one up, and then I have this one holding my riser the whole time.
Huh. You got man hands then, I guess.
I do.
I have girl
Look at these
hands.
calluses.
I get cold.
Yeah, my hands get really cold too.
Yeah.
Fingertip.
Yeah, like get all numb.
So another thing that I think is super important is like a neck gaiter or a face mask.
Dude, that's like game changing.
Yeah.
Especially with
What's
wind.
Hoorag.
Hoorag. Yeah, those are the ones that we use, and it's just a thin layer. But dude, that thin layer is just like just enough to where, because you're breathing in it, so the air
I
you're
hate
breathing
that,
out
the
is
Yeah.
keeping you warm.
It
And
keeps
like
the
I
body
see
heat
Phil
down.
in here, it keeps your freaking body heat like down in your freaking in your clothes.
Yes.
Keeps it down in there.
But
What's
like
this
those
called?
full on
Just like
hoorag.
a
Hoorag?
It's just like a synthetic little rag. It's really
It's
nice.
basically like a bandana. It's like a knot,
It's a
like a.
bandana, like
It's bungee though.
people
Like
call them Balcova, or there's different names for them, but yeah.
I hate like the stuff on my face because like it feels like it just gets sweaty from me breathing in and out though.
Yeah, I don't normally ever wear mine on my face. I just have it around my neck.
yeah,
around your neck.
That's
yeah.
why I call it a neck gaiter, because
Just kind of keep it from.
like.
Just keep.
I mean, there's times when I pull it up over, but
What I'll do is I'll write it up on my hat, and then I'll just run it like down on my jawline so my face ain't exposed, but it keeps just like everything in.
I have a problem putting things over my ears though, because I'm a hearing.
I gotta
I
hear.
like to hear.
I'm deaf anyway.
dude, I noticed that too. Like this year during elk season, like I would when it was just pouring down rain, I'd be like, mother effer, and I'd put my hood on, and I
You
couldn't
can't hear.
Dude, I couldn't have it on for more than like 10 seconds before I was just annoyed out of my mind, and I had to take it off so I could
You
hear what
have
was
to.
going
It's
on.
just like your hood, putting your hood on, same thing. Like you put your hood on, like it really like affects your hearing. It's weird.
That's what I literally just.
I think
said.
that's
I
what
thought
he
you were
just
talking
said.
about I thought you were talking about the hood.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about the hood and the rain.
But same thing goes for a beanie with me. Like during late
I gotta put
season,
it by or here.
my
I'll tuck
my
ears
beanie
out.
is above my ears. I have to be able to hear. Like that's if you jump a deer or anything,
Never
or
know
a
if you're
deer
gonna
or
get
an elk,
flanked.
you're gonna want to hear that, and I can't. I don't think I can hear that. with a beanie on.
No, and it's actually pretty amazing how much better you can hear. Like when you throw your hood on and then you take it off, like it restricts your hearing big time.
Big time. And when you're like over where we hunt and you're kind of cruising brush, kind of not really wanting to jump anything, but if you happen to jump something, then you want to be able to hear that.
Yeah. I'm really a purist. I like to hunt with earplugs in.
You want to give them a chance.
I want to give
all
them
by
a chance.
sight.
It's the same thing
all by
as like,
sight.
yeah, just earplugs and a rifle.
Spot and stock, all by.
That's how I make it challenging. Instead of bow hunting, I put earplugs in. I hunt with a rifle.
Oh my god.
It's getting deep.
Yeah. Man, you are such a nice guy. The liberals are gonna love you.
So, what's everybody doing for late season this year?
Well, I'm tagged out,
Oh yeah, forgot.
but
Not really.
Hey, why don't you just brag about it?
Yeah, let's just.
I
brag.
had to brag a little bit.
Yeah, Sean, how many tags you got in your pocket left?
Got a bear tag, but I think that
Oh.
ends like
That ends like this
The
weekend.
15th.
yeah, this
15th,
weekend.
yeah.
Dude,
Got a
let's
bear
go
tag.
kill one. We got to figure it out.
I'm going this weekend. Well, I'm going up to our rifle elk camp and help those guys. But I mean, if I see a bear, it's gonna die. I had my opportunity to bear and I missed him this year, so that's my fault. But it is what it is.
What about you, Marlon?
What am I doing?
What do you got tags? What tags?
I
you
still
got
got a late deer tag I'm going to be using here for rifle. What is it, like not this weekend, next weekend?
Next Thursday is when it
Yep,
starts.
Thursday,
yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Literally,
I
that's
got
the best season that we have.
Yep, and I got a couple trail cams out in different areas, and I have a really, really big buck coming into one of them.
Nice.
But it's kind of like in a area that like I was telling Sean, I'm like, dude, I just set that area up just like if some of my buddies want to kill some deer or like it's like town. I mean, it's like
It's a freezer filler unit.
It's a freezer filler unit. It's not like, I mean, it's the deer, like Sean, has hunted it before, and the deer are like tame practically. They come into the apples and they're just like tame, but there's a giant coming in there, dude.
That's still
freaking
hunting.
hey,
Look how much time
giant.
Look how much time that you put
Yeah.
into that just so like and guys like this area it is cool. It's local, but
And
we
thick.
get to go in there at the end of the season if people haven't filled a tag and we can go shoot a doe and we
Go fill the freezers up.
exactly
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. But there is some nice deer.
But so for me, it's like I get excited to be up in like the mountains and in the woods just
Right.
because you never know what is going to step out.
The next giant is
Yeah,
gonna
like
step
you
out.
just don't know. Like you just whereas right here it's like in square I mean, I pretty much have pictures of every deer right there.
Yeah.
So,
You would be surprised on how many blacktail specific. How many blacktails are town bucks that get killed?
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
God, dude,
No,
those
but
are
that's the
giant.
same. That's
the
the
big
same with-
ones that get killed are usually town bucks.
That's the same with. I'm not saying
Not
the
just
big ones.
blacktail.
Not just blacktail though. Like when I lived in Wyoming and Montana, when me and Lonnie were driving home from like a late night at work or
are
something.
you the one that told me that someone that goes to Colorado every year and all he does is he goes around in the neighborhoods of rich ass houses and knocks on doors and fills his archery tag every year and shoots 200-inch mule deer?
That's a guy we know, but I didn't tell you that. Lonnie told you that.
Yeah.
But it's a guy we know, and yeah, that's what they do is they drive.
Dude, you
around.
guys just gave away such a huge secret.
Who cares? If you want to go kill a deer that way, then do it.
That's
more
not what I
power
wanna
to
do,
you.
Yeah.
That's not hunting to
More
me.
power to you.
But when we lived in Montana and Wyoming, there was so many nights we'd be driving home and there's just giant bucks on the sidewalk walking down the middle of town. I mean, it's unreal in the middle. It's winter time, it's they get pushed in there, but it's insane. But going back on Marlon talking about your late season, can you kind of talk about your tactics when it comes to late season hunting with the ground blind? Because you hunt the ground blind a little bit.
Yeah, so I get it going. I usually get it set up like I don't get it going like super early. I just specifically set it up for late season. So I'll start basically throwing some bait out like October, like during early season deer. I'll start kind of getting it ready. And what I really do to prepare for late season is the urine. That's like the number one thing that I do. And what I've noticed is every single year, like I'll have a few does coming in, a couple deer here and there. But the second I freaking hang that urine out and I start, like, it's like a light switch. Like, the bucks will start coming into it. They can just smell that stuff from a mile away, and they start coming in.
Well, the time of the year, you know, because they're going
and
into
they're already
rut,
in the rut, you know, and so it just seems to bring them in more and more. So that's what I do. I just like to. Other than that, I've been trying to rattle a bunch, which I haven't learned yet.
I know, but didn't you rattle in a
Yeah.
buck?
So this year during the last day of the season, because I've been trying it a ton, and I've been watching videos with Scott Haugen, reading books, and just trying to figure out how to do it. And I was doing one of the sets that Scott Haugen basically teaches you how to do, and I'm walking through this reprod, and basically I'm rattling, and you rattle like 5 minutes, wait 30 seconds, rattle, move another 100 yards ahead of yourself, do it again. And so I'm like right in the middle, just freaking smashing these antlers together, and just out of nowhere, I mean, like a ghost, the thing just appeared at like 60 yards to my right, and he was like just a little spike, probably 10 or 11 inches tall, but just, I mean, he zeroed right in on me. Like, as soon as he rounded that tree, he was like in where the antlers were. Like, he knew right where they were at. So I tried. I didn't want to shoot him because I just am not wanting to shoot a spike. It just didn't even have that much meat on it. It just wasn't that big of a deer. So I passed on him, and as soon as, of course, I put the antlers down, start to grab my phone. As soon as I pulled my phone out, he's like, bounces off, takes off.
Do you scent up your blind? Like,
yes.
as far as like your scent? Like, do you leave I've heard of guys leaving like a sweatshirt in there.
So I did that this year because these guys told me that.
Yeah.
They told me like, hey, you know, I've heard. And so I'm like, oh, well, frick, I'm going to try it. So I did this year. I put out a t-shirt of mine in there. But normally what I do is I just get the apple scent from the store. Yeah. Then I put that like all over my ground blind and just all around it, and just to try to cover scent it.
Yeah, right.
And then Cliff, one thing I did this year because Cliff recommended was I cut a bunch of like evergreen branches and stuff, and I like brushed the blind
in.
That's a good idea.
Way more than I did last year.
Well, evergreens just give off that as a kid, we used to make like our own scent with like pine needles and water.
So that's the same thing I was thinking. It's just the more you can cover up your scent, the better. But like I said, in this area that I'm hunting, it really is a rural, you know, deer area. So it's a lot of state land, but it's rural.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I wasn't a big believer of the ground blind until Marlon, you know, brought that up and let me sit in his ground blind, and we shot a deer.
And they just came right in, huh?
But I was worried about scent. I'm a big believer in making sure your wind's right, and I didn't in that area. I had never really been in that area. I didn't know which way the wind predominantly blew, and I was kind of skeptical, but I checked the wind, and it was kind of blowing the way I wanted it to, but I really didn't know which way the deer were going to be coming from. But yeah,
from your left.
Yes,
yeah.
From your left.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was like clockwork.
Yeah. I had them so patterned, and it's getting to that point again this year to where they're just becoming really patterned. The problem I had this year getting them in there as easy was there's just way more apples this year. Like not like last year there wasn't as many apples on all the trees. Yeah. So when you would put apples out, the deer were coming to find those freaking apples. Well, this year, you know, you put some apples out. Well, they don't care because there's 25 other apple trees all over the place that have apples all over them.
Were you doing anything special with your apples? Were you cutting them? Were you putting that scent out there?
Yep, I cut them. I'll put them up in the trees. I'll smash them on the thing.
Okay.
This year I tried some. So what I've been doing is trying some like sweeter, and I'm not going to tell people what I use, but there's things that you can buy at the feed store like granulars and stuff that Blacktail love. So just start experimenting with some of those sweeter granules because, dude, I put some of that stuff out and it was like they were on it.
Well,
like
and
fast.
I think blacktail and mule deer are a lot alike when it comes to their feed, just from, you know, because we set baits on the east side and we use the same things. We get the same, you know, a reaction from the deer. So this, I mean, and I haven't hunted whitetail much, but I'm sure it would work just as good for whitetail.
Oh,
also.
I'm sure. And a lot of those guys do tons of different baiting, whitetail guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's legal in the state of Washington. So you just have, what were you saying, Cliff? It's like under 10 gallons, right?
You have 10 gallons.
You have to have under 10 gallons of bait.
And if you did do multiple sites, it can't be within 200 yards of like each site. So like say you want to set up multiple trail cameras and like you want to hit a whole area.
So make sure you guys are checking your state regs and
for sure
making sure you're legally baiting for deer and elk.
It's a nice tactic. I mean, it takes a lot of the hard work out of it.
I don't think you ever said,
blacktail.
are you archery hunting this or are you rifle?
No, shotgun.
Shotgun, okay.
So it's shotgun. So a lot of the deer that have gotten shot out of there are slugs or buckshot.
Or you can archery hunt it too.
You could archery hunt or muzzleloader. Yep.
Mine was arrowed.
So some people have archery hunted. I mean, you could do either, but most of us are shooting with shotguns out of there.
Well, because mainly I've tree stand hunted. I haven't done a ton of tree stand hunting, but I've always, with a tree stand, your scent's higher. You have less a chance of being detected by movement and stuff. And so I was really skeptical about that ground blind, but once I sat in it, like the comfort of a ground blind is
Oh, dude.
So nice.
You could almost take like a little mini heat, like a
I
little
was gonna
buddy
say,
heater in there.
Did you guys bring a little buddy heater in there?
No, but I've thought about it.
Yeah.
in a tree stand. Like it can be miserable. Sitting
Dude,
in
if the
a
wind's
tree stand.
blowing, it can be brutal.
You're so constricted.
You got to be so bundled up with,
yeah.
with your hippie puffy.
Our hippie puffies, yeah, double layered hippie puffy.
Tree stands have their advantages. They definitely do. Obviously, people all over the world kill giant deer, elk, bear, everything out of tree stands.
Has anybody used like the ozone stuff, like the ozonic stuff?
The what?
I have
Ozonics, like that ozone emitting stuff. Like I've read some stuff
The
about
scent,
it.
like
Scent
kill-
eliminating.
No.
Like I'm wondering. Like
No, let's not even go there, dude.
I'm just curious about it.
I don't believe in it.
That stuff is like.
I don't, like I said, I'm just curious about it. I'm like,
Stand
I wonder.
in the wind with the wind blowing towards the elk and let's see how well it works.
Oh, dude, I watched the infomercial, bro. Like, it works great. They showed me. And they only want like $300 for them.
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering if anybody used them before, if they know anybody that's used them.
Yeah.
I haven't. I just try to play wind as much as possible.
Go,
Wind's the way to go.
going into tree stand hunting though, like if you guys are gonna be tree stand hunting for late season, make sure that you guys are going in there prepping your tree. Don't go in there the day before season. And
Prepping your path, too. Go in the same path. Don't wander.
I don't believe that.
I do, man, because I've seen elk.
Dude,
I've seen elk where a buddy rubbed his
That
back
is
on a tree going
100%
underneath it.
true.
It sniffed
especially
it and turned
for
around
big
and left.
blacktail. If you believe that a big smart blacktail has gotten that big and that smart because he's that smart, go watch Steve Isdale's videos that he has where blacktail, he has tested it where he'll put his scent on the trail and he has video cameras of big giant blacktail coming in, and right where his new scent is, they stop, they
Turn
look
around.
around, they go like this, boink, and they freaking
Gone.
bail the hell out. And he said he is adamant that you go in the exact same trail every single time. You follow the same pattern, because the second you don't, the blacktail knows, because they're just that smart.
Huh.
He said they'll notice a stick that was different from the time they came in. He said that's just how smart that they are.
Well, that's why blacktail. I mean, when you see a big blacktail buck, you know he's an old buck. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just plain and simple. You're talking Oregon, Washington, California. When you see a big one, you know it's a mature buck and that he was smart.
And I'm not saying that for all the blacktail,
Sure.
but I'm saying if you're trying to kill a giant, if you want to
I mean,
kill a big giant smart blacktail, you have to know that scent, that makes a huge difference.
It does, but I've also heard, especially if you're not like frequenting a like your stand location a lot, like those deer also pattern like that trail that you're hiking in, and then they know when you're coming in and out of that area. So if you're playing wind and you're coming into your stand from a different location, then that's less of a chance of them smelling you. I've heard that also. So it's tough
Yeah,
to
I mean,
say.
that does make
that
sense.
guy,
Yeah.
that Steve guy, he definitely knows his stuff. Like, I'm
Apples
not
and apples.
disregarding anything.
Yeah,
that-
just rub down with apples when you go in, man. They'll follow it in there.
Dude,
Think
I
they're
was
fed.
just, when I watched his videos, because I subscribe to his thing, it's like $30 a year or whatever, and it gives you access to all of his videos. Some of the videos he has of these blacktail that he's captured is incredible. Like, you see them in their freaking real, true environment and how they react to different things, and it's pretty amazing. And that guy kills giants.
Yeah, I know. I follow
Giants.
his stuff. He is definitely a stud blacktail hunter for
Yeah.
sure. there's so many different theories behind it all.
There is, and that's
Going back on what I was saying, make sure that you guys are prepping your stand sites like ahead of time. Don't go in the day before and start cutting branches off your tree
For sure.
and throwing your stand in there the day before. Make sure you do it like I try. It's tough where I hunt because it's a few hours from home, but
That's where I'm going or Sunday.
I try to put my stand in there like a week ahead of time at least, and just put it at the base of the tree. That that kind of gets that scent out there. Make sure that I try to prep that tree like plenty of weeks in advance. But putting your stand in there, like I try to do it at least a week. If I can do it 2 weeks, it's tough on public land because you don't want anybody to steal your stuff.
Right.
I chain my tree stand to a tree. So if you guys are having issues with theft out there, like keep that in mind. Same thing with game cameras. Like I invest in lock boxes. That's a big thing for me, and I haven't had any stolen yet, thank God. But I know Marlon's had them stolen. I don't know about you guys, but
I'll find out Sunday. I'm fortunate, like I'm on private property, so as long as nobody's like jumping property lines or anything, I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. I'm in some pretty thick stuff. So I don't think I'll have anything to worry about. But like I said, I'll find out Sunday morning when I go in.
And another thing that I believe is a huge part of tree stand hunting is investing in like a hunter safety system.
For sure.
I bought one 2 years ago, and I'm so glad I did. Our buddy Bobby has fallen out of a tree before and really messed himself up. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Any of my friends.
I bought a cheap one, a cheap stand. Was when I first started hunting, and I got I think it was like from the Goodwill or something. And like I was sitting in this tree, and like, dude, I'm starting to fall asleep. And it was just like the cheaper nylon strap, like not like hunter safety system. But I'm sitting there, and it was one of those ones where the seat like folds out, and it has the like just basically the material that you're sitting on is the seat.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and like I'm starting to fall asleep, and all of a sudden I hear this, and like the trees just wind is just howling. And I'm sitting there and I hear this. I'm like, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden it just gives way. Dude, yeah.
Wow. That's
gives
sketchy.
way. Drop my bow out of the tree, everything. Yeah. Scarier than hell. So it's like I would have only fallen just basically to where my feet were. But it's really that simple. And there's so many guys every single year. And then also make sure you leave yourself an out. Dude, there's guys that get hung up in trees and they stay there hanging. Like people will find them in the woods hanging. Like that's no joke. Make sure you have a way out.
Yeah, that's for sure. And what's nice about like those, I bought that. It's actually, that's the brand, is the Hunter's Safety System, I believe.
It's exactly what I have, yeah.
And the way that's set up, like where if you were to fall, like standing in it won't let you fall. Like
yeah,
there's no way to fall if you adjust it right. There's no way for you to fall. So that kind of eliminates that. But yes, I'm sure there is some systems where you could fall.
Oh yeah. Well, no, yeah, and it is all in how you do. But like if your stand were to kick out from underneath you for whatever reason.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Like that's where some guys they get caught up in bad situations, and I mean it hits that, what is it, the femoral artery that's right there, and dude, you're done. Like that's it.
Absolutely. And if you buy, there's a lot of tree stands out there. Like especially like I run a Summit tree stand.
A climber.
Yeah, the Summit Viper, and that tree stand comes with a harness. Like a full-on body harness, which is awesome. You don't have to spend extra money to buy a harness, and it's not uncomfortable. Like I work on bridges for a living. I wear a harness every day. So like wearing a harness I'm used to it, but
It's just not going clink, clink, clink.
Yeah, that's true. They're a little bit heavier duty, the harnesses that I wear, but this harness is not uncomfortable. It's all straps. There's no really. There's a few metal parts, but they don't make any noise. They're actually pretty decent harnesses for what you get.
Yeah. Anything to save you though from falling. I mean, if anybody's ever fallen from a tree, it's no fun.
I never have, so I couldn't tell you.
It's because you hunt out of a ground blind.
I'm a walking guy.
All right, so we were talking about hunter safety systems, and make sure you guys look into those. Make sure you guys are safe out there. But let's start talking about like late season rifle hunting.
That's my game. That's what I do a lot.
I know, and you've been really successful at it, and you just have a lot of
Very.
experience with it. I have a lot of experience with it in my younger years, but since I've transitioned to archery hunting, like I haven't done it a lot lately.
Well, what's funny is you say, dude, I still do just a lot of the same stuff that me and you did way back in the day. I mean, I hunt a lot of the reprod that butts right up against the clear cuts, so that those deer will just ride that reprod. And during the rut especially, you'll catch those bucks out in the clear cut, in the open, thinking that they're safe because they're close to that reprod, but they're not. So what I do a ton in the late season to try to get big bucks is glass those reprod lines, and I'll just glass. Sometimes I'll spend all day just glassing reprod lines, waiting for a buck to show himself on the outside of those.
Well, and these deer are acting so differently this time of the year. They're more active, and I don't want to say they're dumber, but
They're
are.
dumber. No, they're dumber.
They
dumber.
are.
They're
They
chasing
do not
that one
care.
thing that we all want.
Yeah, they don't care if you're there, so you can get away with so much more this time of the year, and it is truly amazing how you'll go all year long without, you'll see a few deer, you'll see a couple little bucks, and then
the
all
rut
of a
hits.
sudden there's just big
I
bucks
can't
out of the
wait.
woodworks.
I
Like-
can't wait, dude.
Like deer in your front yard fighting, like a smasher buck fighting in your front yard in the middle of the city.
Andrew texted me the other day, and he's like, "Dude, I just seen two giants fighting in my front yard," and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
I live like in a downtown region. It was crazy.
Dude, I got a story about late season. We could talk. I'll give one little story, and then I think I want to hear you guys talk about some spot and stalking. But so this late season story, just talking about deer being dumb. So I'm hiked probably 3 miles back in to it was another shotgun unit, and it was like late rut. I think this was when they used to do the rut. Like they used to give us the season like later. It was like the 21st through the 24th of November or something. But regardless, it was later in November, so these deer were full freaking rut. And we go out, we're walking this super old road, and I know that there's this clear cut to the upper left of it. And we start to get up there, and I slow down as we get closer to the clear cut, and I start glassing it, and sure as shit, there's this little forking horn, like pretty nice forking horn in the middle of the clear cut. And so I'm like, dude. So I have this doe urine and my buck grunt, and Travis Bishop's with me. And I freaking just whoa, and let off the buck grunt, and that buck went woof, right to us, dude. And I swear to dude, he turned and went instantly right down to that road, and I let off another grunt, and he was just beelining right towards us. And then I squirted the doe pee in the air, and I was like squirting in the air, and I'm not kidding. Me and Travis are standing in the middle of this freaking road, and this buck is just coming right at us.
Wasn't the wind right at the buck too?
Yeah, he was right. I mean, he knew. Yeah, the wind was blowing right at him. I mean, he was looking
They
right.
just get so stupid this time of year.
Dude, he was looking right at us, and it was so funny because I remember Travis saying, "Dude, are you gonna shoot it? Dude, shoot it, shoot it. Are you gonna shoot it?" Because this thing was like walking right towards us, and I let it get to like, I think it was probably 20 yards when I finally pulled the trigger and shot it. But just a crazy little story to show how dumb they really do get sometimes when they're rutting.
They do, and
Absolutely.
they do. So I mean,
So that's another thing. In the late season, I always have a set of rattling antlers, doe urine, and a buck grunt tube. Always. I never, ever, ever even hunt the late season without it. Because there's been so many times where it's paid off for me.
I've never used one. A grunt call.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
they
use
work.
them. Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard I've
work,
never
dude.
used one, but
Especially
I've
on a buck
heard
that's like
they've used them or heard
Is
they work.
territorial
Yeah,
or
feeling
whatever.
froggy.
And, yep. Here's another like one thing people do wrong is they overuse it. Like
Yeah.
everything I've ever read and learned is that it's just a quick, short womp. Like just one little grunt. And we'll have to get some grunt tubes in here one day and like play around with them. But
Yeah.
Oh, I have them. I've just never used them.
yeah, I've heard, and you hear these guys are like, whoa.
Whitetails?
It's
Yeah.
like, dude, that's not what they do. Like they just don't do that.
I'm sure
So-
the whitetail guys, they probably know what they're doing, but yeah.
I have no
blacktails.
idea on whitetail.
I've heard
but,
blacktails grunt in the wild before, and yeah, it's very short.
Yeah,
and
just
sweet.
womp.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
anyway, little story.
Yeah, and another thing, like when you're hunting that late rifle hunt, like at least around here, make sure you guys are hunting all day long. Like those deer are active
Yeah.
all day long. It's not a morning evening show. It's
I caught him in my yard 3 days ago at 3:45 when I got home at work. They were standing in Like we're talking town, and they're in my front yard.
Perfect. Those are my favorite rural bucks.
Except I don't think town we shall not name has a no flinging of the arrows.
They have that restriction.
I've been warned by the police officer before. But
Slingshot it is.
He said as long as I'm shooting he said as long as I'm shooting towards my own house, there's nothing anybody can do about it. So I shoot towards my own house.
Oh, well, let's start talking about doing some spot and stalking, because we had, and do some mule deer hunting and bench leg hunting. That's mainly what we hunt in the late season. At
Right.
least, me and Cliff and Andrew, we do a lot of that. When it comes to spot and stalk mule deer hunting, I feel like the weather can be your best friend and your worst enemy, just like any hunting. But it seems like sometimes this time of the year we get a snow and then
It's on like donkey.
it is, but then it rains.
Yeah, and then it freezes.
The top of the snow freezes.
That's
And
that's your worst enemy right
this
there.
This is in any state. Any state has this issue, and you can't. It's so hard to spot and stalk in that.
Oh, for sure.
So we found, I'm talking your typical weather, but like we find the bucks, typically high in the morning and dropping down in the canyons in the evening or late morning. As soon as that sun pops, they're starting to drop down, usually chasing does. And what we like to do is kind of we spot them first thing and try to make a move first thing. Get down there, get set up. I mean, I'm not a big caller, rattler guy, but I like to get in position, where I think they're gonna go.
Yeah.
And we scout it. We know their trails. We know their patterns.
It's so tough this time of the year though, because it's not like you're going to stalk a bedded buck this time of the year. It's very rare.
No,
these bucks are pushing does or they're feeding.
They're moving all day right now because especially like here in a few weeks when we go on that hunt, on my last hunt of the year, they're gonna be moving all day long. Not whether they're chasing does or just trying to stay warm. They are moving all day long. That's a fact of the matter is, once that sun comes up, they are moving, they're feeding, they're chasing does.
If there's sun.
If there's sun.
When it gets daylight, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. But we've found a lot of them just spot them high and then they drop into canyons. We just try to cut them off. That's
you have to intercept them. Like, we're talking, like, when I talk spot and stalk, I'm usually talking like early season, like we've done in prior podcasts. And for me, like, as far as the stock's concerned, like, it's not really a whole lot of stalking. It's like, I need to get from point A to point B because I can see where those does are going.
and cut them off.
And he's headed that way, and I need to get there. Yeah,
You got to cut.
So you can call it like spot and run.
Spot and run.
That's what I'm doing.
It's more of a spot and run. It's not like your early season spot and stalk where you watch him bed and you
it's harder too, dude. Like with all the does,
it's way harder. You got more eyes on you.
Yeah,
it's way harder. It's not your typical like watch your buck bed and he's gonna bed there and then you have 4 to 5 hours to work around the ridge and drop down on him or come underneath, whatever you do.
But with that being said, that's something you got to remember is with these deer moving and they're chasing does or
you kind of know where they're gonna go.
Yes.
If that doe's on a beeline down, like if she's on a game trail that she's gonna go down, like most of the hillsides and canyons I hunt, like when she's on that trail, I know she's gonna go down that trail. And she's going all the way to the bottom. And they're going to go get in some thick brush and they're going to bed up for the day or feed in some brush that I can't see them. But once she gets on that trail, she's most likely going to follow that trail all the way down the bottom. And it's just a matter of getting in front of them, keeping the wind right, for one. The wind, like, we talk about these blacktail bucks with, not with disregarding the wind, but you talking about these bench legs and mule deer, and I don't know. In my opinion, the wind matters more over there. Like they'll scent you out and they'll bust.
Well, and when we're coming into hunting these deer, we're kind of dabbling in 2 different late seasons.
Kind of post rut. Post rut.
It is post rut, and there is still rut activity, but it's not as hard.
It's definitely post rut. You got a few bucks that are still chasing, but primarily you're hunting the post rut. Most of these bucks are kind of just hanging around the does still. They're not, they are chasing. There's a few chasing, but not every one of them is
They're not
rutting.
rutting over. It seems like there's quite a few rutting over in your area.
They do, but they just act different. That's why they don't allow us to hunt those deer in
I was over there last
early
week.
November.
I was
Because
over
in early November. Those deer are
stupid.
Yeah.
Really?
I was over there last weekend, and I mean, granted, I only came across a few bucks, and they were small bucks, but they were stupid. Like, this one buck I had, he was dead. Like, plain as day. He was dead. He was 40 yards from me. He disregarded me. He had a doe 10 yards from him, and all he could do is watch his doe. And he'd look back at me and then look back at the doe for 30 seconds. And then he'd, like, every once in a while look back at me. And I took an Instagram little thing.
Insta story. Straight
Insta
up
story.
right there.
I took an Insta story, and he didn't even care. Like, they don't give 2 shits about us.
Marlon, we've talked about this in our previous podcasts, talking about does going into second estrus cycles. And I think that you're getting a few does that are going into their second estrus cycle.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the rut activity as you would in early November. And I think everybody agrees like that's just...
The majority of the big bucks are going to be on their own by this time. Like, they've done their breeding. Any big buck, heck, for that matter, any big bull, they want to breed, and then they're out. They're not looking to play around. They get in, they do what they're meant to do, and then they get out.
That brings me
and then
to
they
my...
go do their walkabout.
Yes.
They go do, they stroll the hillsides.
What are they doing though after they breed? The deer, when they're done breeding, the next thing that they are going to do is they're going to prepare.
They're going to try to fatten up as much as they can,
Exactly.
because this rut, the rut takes a toll on any animal. Like, we
dude,
talk
big
elk
time.
and deer. Like, the elk, the amount of fat loss that they take is amazing, and how they can survive a winter. And the same thing with deer. The deer go into it even worse because they don't rut till November.
Yep, and so they have a short amount of time to feed.
They have like 15 days, and in most cases, like, we're talking mule deer, blacktail, they have, November, beginning of November to end of November, we're talking, huge drastic changes in temperature, and that can be huge, like, on
That's
the deer's
why
survival.
Years that you have a hard winter that's pushing in, if there's a bunch of snow, that's when big bucks die in late season.
They get pushed down to these low grounds, especially, I do believe that these deer can remember, and we're talking like 3 winters ago. We're coming up, this will be the 3rd winter from our last big winter. And I do believe these animals remember, because you see snow fly and these animals start, after a big winter like we had 3 years ago, these animals start heading downhill fast. Yep. They remember what it was like when they got stuck up in the high country and had to trudge through, belly deep snow.
Well, and see, at the same time, though, remember, me and you were talking about some of those bucks that are just living in that crap. Because that one buck that we found his antlers a couple years in a row, like, he's living right there in, like, feet of snow.
Exactly, and I was talking to Andrew about that earlier today, is those big bucks, when they have their like, area where they want to be, it's going to take a blizzard of, like, 5 feet of snow to get that buck out of there.
Yeah.
So...
Or they just winter up and they find a hidey hole, and then, they drop, and then the snow covers, and then you don't find them till that next spring.
That buck that he found in the sheds too a couple years in a row, that buck was literally living in like 3.5 feet of snow.
Jesus.
And he wasn't moving from there.
Well,
I mean,
they're tough.
He lives there all year round. They have pictures of him in July, the same spot.
They're resilient, man. those bucks over there, I mean, they handle a lot of climate change and predators. They're tough critters, you know. They're
Well, I think
smart.
just any migratory buck like that on any state that they're migratory that, they have to go through so much. Think about what they gotta survive.
I don't
Absolutely.
You know, I can't quote the amount of miles, but that like national mule deer migration is amazing. If you've never watched like any documentary on that, just tune into it.
I've watched a time lapse of it and it was sweet.
It's
a
amazing.
Wyoming one. It was
Yeah,
like a Wyoming.
it's Wyoming. Yeah,
Dude, the time lapse of that is insane.
Well, that's why they had to
Mule
put
deer
in
just-
some of those like those underpasses for animals.
the Wyoming.
Yeah, because like there
The
were so many
Wyoming,
going across the road and getting hit.
The Wyoming Federation.
Yeah.
They it's crazy.
They had to fence
And-
off
and
miles
so
and
that's-
then make it to where they could only go under certain areas of the highway because they were just getting plowed.
They're getting plowed.
Yeah, well, let's not get too far off on a tangent here.
Well, and what blows my mind is these deer year after year will stump us, and one minute we think we have them figured out, and then we will find the sheds to a buck that was living in 4 feet of snow. It's like we're not going to figure them out completely. But
No.
and they move so
It
much.
frustrates me so much, dude.
They move so
especially with
much.
sheds. When I think I have when I think I have the sheds figured out, I'm like, oh, dude, next year I'm freaking killing them. Terrible year. I won't find shit. I'll be like, dude, what happened? I had them so dialed.
yeah, it changes year after year.
That's what makes hunting fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why you can never spend too much time in the woods.
No,
Never.
You're not-
absolutely not.
You're not going to quit learning. Year after year, I stump myself, and I love it. I love when I get frustrated because it just drives me to be a better hunter, a better observer of deer, everything. Like, I want to watch them all year long just to understand, you know, what they're doing year after year.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating. Like,
Well, it's just every single time, like Marlon was saying, it's like every single time you think you have them like dialed, you're ready to go. You're like, this is gonna be the year. I'm gonna smoke a giant buck.
Don't say that because I think that this year.
And dude, it's so true. Yeah, like that one on your dome right there, man. Like I would love to find that one, but
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, if I patterned it, what was gonna happen is I'd be like, I'm gonna go out there because I did this with a bull. It's the same thing. Like, dude, every time.
They're smart critters.
But that's what keeps us going out.
Their life is survival. Like
For
day
sure.
in and day out, they have to survive. And I mean, ultimately, the people that we have to kill. Like
they only have to deal with us a couple months out of the year. Yeah. They have to deal with every
Predators.
other predator.
Yeah.
predators, man.
Year round.
I mean, we
Yes.
we could go on a whole nother tangent about predators in
Yeah, we're
in
not
our
going
state
to.
alone, but
We're
we
not
won't.
gonna do that.
But you know, these deer, you think you got them figured out, and then they completely stump you.
I will say to you guys that are listening to us, if you are discouraged about deer hunting and you just are having a hard time figuring it out, persistence pays off. The hardest deer I ever hunted was the deer I hunted this year. And I hunted every single day. I wanted to kill a buck during general rifle season. That was like my goal. I wanted to kill a mature blacktail buck. And I hunted every single day, and I've never been so discouraged in my life. And if there's one thing I can tell you guys is to just keep at it, because once all the stars align, the moon and the sun and everything works out.
It happens.
It takes one step.
Yep.
That's all it takes is one step. Looking left, looking
It's
right.
literally, you know, we have this saying when we're elk hunting, it's just one more ridge. One
I
more
like
ridge.
that. One more ridge. Yeah.
One more
I
ridge.
don't know if I go
We-
that far.
I
It's in that
actu-
next bush.
I had a
One more bush.
Yeah. One more bush, guys.
One more bush.
one more ridge, and it, you know, it,
Yeah,
it
ridges
happened
are
to be.
seeming a little
There's
too
these
far.
guys on Instagram, elk.
For us blacktail hunters, it's one more bush.
I think their Instagram handles like alcoholics, but you know they made some stickers and stuff that said one more ridge. But that's kind of always been our motto, is like, you know, next ridge.
Dude, you
You
can't
know,
kill them if you're not
One
hunting.
Yeah, keep
more
pushing.
ridge, one more ridge. Don't stop hunting. Like, plain and simple. Like, if I would have given up on my early archery tag this year, like, there was many times that I wanted to just stop. Like, this is enough. Like, I'm done hiking these hills. I'm done humping. I'm done. But you got to be persistent and just persevere, do it for yourself. If nothing else, like, just try to be successful, set a goal for yourself in a year and do it. Like,
absolutely. And if you guys are just to the point where you just want to give up or you need some advice, please message us on Facebook or Instagram, and I will do my best to point you guys in the right direction. Like, that is our goal, is to help you guys out. So hit us up. I'm not going to give you my secret honey holes, or Marlon's not going to give you his or whatever, but we're going to point you guys.
We can give you some advice for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And we can tell you, I'll tell some people some areas they can go hunting.
There's nothing wrong with a little help, but like, it takes boots on the ground, like getting to know an area.
That's the key, dude.
Get to know an area. Like, I can't say this because I hunted a different elk area this year, but once you get to know an area and you've been there multiple years and you kind of figure it out, that plays a huge role in your success there. Like, you see these guys that keep going to the same spots every year, and they keep pulling out bucks. They keep pulling out elk, they keep pulling out bulls. It's proven. Like, you keep going to the same area and you're successful. Like,
you learn something new about that area every single time.
You learn something new, but you also come into it knowing, like, okay, well, I kind of know, like, where these elk are going to be, or where I think they're going to be, and they might move this way or they might move that way, or the same thing with deer. Like, I might know they feed this direction, or they come down off this hillside, or get to know an area.
So let's do this.
That's my biggest advice, especially with late season. Like, get to know the area.
What do you look for, though? I'm a new hunter. This is my first year I go out. What do you look for late season? Just real quick, like, just rattle it off real fast. First thing you look for in a spot.
This is going to sound really cliche, but I look for deer.
Find does.
No, on a map. You look for deer on a map?
Find does.
That's what I'm saying. Looking on a map. I've never been to an area. There's a late season unit open. I want to hunt it. I know nothing about it. What's the first thing you look for?
The first thing I'm going to look for on a map.
Feed next to timber, or feed next to cover. Feed next to cover. Like, if we're talking like canyon style, we're talking like feed on top of the canyons and deep cover in the canyons, and or timber in the bottom, whatever you might feel is cover, but that's what I feel like. We're talking feed on top because I primarily find them on top, and then they feed down on the bottom and get in cover, and then honestly they're gone for the day unless I get lucky.
So if I'm looking at a topo map, just a straight topo map, and we're talking
benches,
late season deer hunting, yes.
Yep.
I'm looking for benches, and I'm looking for a south facing slope that goes to a north facing slope that they can take cover on. And that is exactly what I'm looking for, but I am also going to scout that area. If I can, I'm going to scout that area and get my eyes on it. But I'm going
to play the dummy one more time because I know there's a lot of guys that don't know this. Why are you looking for a south-facing slope?
So
it's where the sun hits.
Yes, in the wintertime when snow's falling, those deer are going to hit a south-facing slope because there's going to be more sun there, which means less snow, more feed. That's like the basic.
I just wanted to get that out there because there's so many
north-facing slopes for sheds.
Early season.
Hey, I found sheds on north-facing slopes.
I have too, but no, that was a joke. South-facing slopes and
for late season, yeah, south-facing slopes because you're gonna get less snow, less weather. You're gonna get more direct sunlight throughout the day.
Cool. That's kind of what I wanted to get out.
You're gonna have more cover too.
And that's a good basic rule to go by, but that is not an end-all be-all, guys.
No.
Like, make sure that you guys are scouting these areas. These deer do crazy things every
Deer
day.
are going to be where deer want to be, man, and I've always said that.
That just goes down to say, like, get to know an area. Like, find an area, pick an area, get to know an area, and over time, you will become successful in there. I mean, there's guys that are hunting in downtown, like not downtown Beaverton, but there's guys that are hunting in Beaverton and killing.
Oh, city deer.
City deer.
But I mean, Marlon said it best, though. It's like, dude, you think about how much time he's put in, like even in his ground blind spot.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
dude,
just
it just
putting time
takes
in.
time. So Basically, if you guys
don't
find
get
a unit,
discouraged.
just you got to spend time out there. Boots on the ground. You got to spend time. Invest in a trail camera. Get out there and just beat the brush. Find them.
The more and more I spend time hunting, the more successful I am.
And you learn more every single time you go out, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, there was years where I just was like, oh, yeah, cool, it's late buck season. I'll go out for last 4 days of the season and shoot a deer. And that was about the extent to the time that I put into it. But now it's just like I don't know. When
Still got to get a bow in your hand.
We will.
Still got, when bulls are screaming in your face, man. Oh.
All right, guys. Well, again, if you guys have any questions, hit us up. We will try to point you in the right direction. Thanks again for listening to Addicted Hunting Podcast.
Before Sean closes this out, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify or Google Play, wherever you're listening. Please, please do that. Give us some feedback. Let us know if you guys are liking these episodes. And if you're watching on YouTube, comment. Comment on all the little topics that we talked about. We want to hear what you guys think, what your guys' suggestions are. Give all the other hunters out there that are watching or listening some of your advice.
Absolutely.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it.
All right. Thanks again, guys. See you out there.
Later, Dave.
See you
Later.